It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, I love that sound. You know why? Because it's taking us beyond the final frontier. For a rather disturbing discussion this morning. No, it's actually really exciting. We are talking about space debris and one of the possible solutions for it. We know that the consequences of us not being able to get a handle on the amount of debris that is now floating around our planet could be dire, disastrous even. So we're going to take a look at a new piece of tech that is being tested to sum that up, and then we're going to talk about a particular syndrome, Kessler's syndrome, that you can start researching now so you can seem far more intelligent than me as I welcome Spaceman Dan, Dr. Cunnama. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Dr. Dan, as we are liking calling you. Dan, it's always so cool to connect with you because you introduce the coolest concepts to us. This isn't just a concept anymore, space harpoons. I'm thinking of a James Bond film, and I know I'm getting it wrong. How do we get to a point now that we need, first of all, a harpoon in space?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there's a lot of space debris out there. A lot. So
more than you think.
More than you think.
More than you can envision.
So I think, I mean, the numbers are like there are about 3,000 active satellites now orbiting the Earth. And we're tracking about 23,000 pieces of debris. So those are uncontrolled. And then once they get smaller than about 10 centimeters, they're not really possible to track, but they're still very, very dangerous. Like a fleck of paint can cause chaos.
Because things are moving at quite a rapid pace still. Anything leaving the planet?
40,000 k's an hour or something. Yeah, fast. And then, so there are about 500,000 of these sorts of smaller ones which we can't track. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and it's a problem. So that's what this space harpoon is part of. It's a test prototype for removing debris from space. So if we watch the video here, you see they've basically got a test piece of space debris on the end of a pole, and then they harpoon it with a cable attached to try and attach it to the satellite, then they can bring it down into the Earth.
This is a bunch of oaks in space with too much time on their hands. That's what it looks like to me. It just looks like oaks having a jaw in space. When you think about things moving at such a rapid pace, how effective, I mean, how far will this need to go before we can actually start utilizing this? Because the variables in my mind, it just seems like there are so many pieces that we're going to need to collect. You'll almost need a space shotgun or something, eh?
So I mean, this mission actually tested a couple of different things. So the harpoon they just tested, a while ago they tested a net. So they launched a net which could sort of capture the junk and pull it down. But yeah, I mean, it's a real problem. Like the more stuff that goes
Especially
up there.
now that we're starting to do more.
Yeah, and the Kessler syndrome that you brought up, it's a scary concept. Basically what it means is, and there was a collision in 2009 of two really large satellites, a ton and half a ton, and it created like 10 or 20,000 pieces of debris.
Oh.
Now, when there's 3,000 satellites out there and two collide, they release a plume of 10,000 little guys, which then could hit another satellite.
I'm seeing that there's that scene in Harry Potter where they're trying to get the Horcrux and everything's just like
that's exactly
propagating like that.
That's exactly what it's like. I mean, and you're very quickly in a scenario where the entire low Earth orbit is occupied with debris, and then you can't launch anything or get anything back.
Presumably there's like I'm going to ask very quickly, a critical mass or like a point where we've gone too far, and how close are we to the Kessler syndrome being? I'm nervous about leaving the planet.
We could, I mean, if something like that happened, like tomorrow, it could. I mean, if two large satellites collided, it could wipe out like all of the satellites. I mean, in reality, seriously.
You just keep, I don't care if you're messing around in space, you just keep practicing with that harpoon. You just get better and better. Dr. Dan, thank you for terrifying all of us a little bit this morning. But really exciting stuff, how far we are going and what we're going to need to do as we take this next step into the final frontier.